Welcome to the Kickstart Your Edge Play to Win Leadership Podcast,
where we've flipped the script with our groundbreaking modus operandi to bring you real, relevant, and relatable tactics and techniques to master your own play to win mindset.
Talk about a superpower. It's time to iron your cape.
What we know for sure is what got you here won't get you there.
You can't see the spinach in your own teeth.
And finally, hang on, because this one is really deep. Once you realize that you are the traffic, everything makes complete and unadulterated sense.
Welcome to The Edge, where playing not to lose is not an option. So I'm going to let you all in on a secret of how Karen tries to get me to do things she wants me to do. So she feels my mind would be a nice thing to slow down at different times. And one time she wanted me to meditate, and she kept saying, I think it's your superpower. If you were able to meditate, I think you would be unstoppable. And she knows that I buy into unstoppable and wanting to be that. And it's just hilarious. But I think what comes behind that, Karen, is you haven't always been, but over the last few years, I would say you have been a meditator, and you really believe in stopping, not to let go of your thinking, but instead to use meditation to observe the way you think.
Right. It allows you to, that's just it, right? It allows you to be an observer of your thoughts. And the best way that I can describe it really, really quickly is with meditation and watching your thoughts. Imagine it's like you're sitting on, your front porch where you can see cars going by. Like, the cars just go by, and the cars are the thoughts that just go by. Like, you don't jump in every car. Like, one car you might, follow a little bit longer with your eyes. You might create some curiosity, but you're not jumping in it and letting that car take you somewhere. You're just watching the cars as they go by. And with meditation, it's the same thing. You just watch the thoughts and you don't get crazy attached to them. And then you just come back to like a centered kind of place. And so often what happens is people think that I can't meditate because I just think too much. And that's just a bunch of crap, because we're all thinking. It's just being conscious of what you're thinking when you're thinking.
I love it. And it is interesting because I have been an on again, off again person to desire meditation. But it was truly about I am in the pursuit of mastering my mindset. What do I think? How do I think? How do I show up? How am I playing to win versus playing not to lose? And when I learned and heard it in a way I hadn't heard it before, that meditation allows you to be the observer of your mind, I was all in, because that's what's going to help me master my play to win mindset. So let's talk a little bit about being an observer and a participant.
You know what else? Just as we're doing that, the whole purpose of what we're doing here with thoughts is about creating awareness around your thoughts. And if you can understand the concept of watching yourself think and essentially your brain, and letting your brain kind of like watch your brain, like having your brain observe itself, and how you could, this is going to sound really meta, how you can watch your brain with your brain. And it's just such a place of power, because it's not like some Jedi magic trick. It's just stopping to just say, hey, what's happening right here?
Yeah. And it's really about the ability to examine your thinking. So as we have shared time and time again, and we will share time and time forever, is that your thoughts create your feelings will create your actions will determine your results. So part of this is, how do you start to pay attention to what you're thinking without overthinking, right?
Correct.
And so a thought is just a sentence. We happen to have 60 to 80,000 thoughts each and every day. but it's about how do you start to look at the sentences that you're thinking. What do you like to always say, Karen?
Like, so if you were to take your thought out of your head and put it in the palm of your hand, and just look at it like a sentence, right? So I heard this once, and it was like, thoughts are just sentences in your head. So if you could take that thought out of your head and put it in your hand and examine the thought and really kind of look at it and be like, I wonder what's up with this. I wonder what I'm thinking about this thought. Because, like you just said, Jen, because your brain is thinking thoughts that are creating your emotions. And then that's driving your actions. And then you can see how you're consistently creating your life by what it is that you're thinking. Because it's that one little sentence that's in your hand. And then what do you want to do with it?
And when we can start to be the observer of what we're thinking, we can start to then think about our thoughts.
Without overthinking our thoughts. But here's the thing too, and it just made me think of this. As I'm sitting here looking at the thought in my hand and examining the thought, if you're consistently paying attention to your thoughts, which are creating the feelings, which are driving the actions, you're creating your own life. Now, here's the thing though. Are you doing it consciously or are you doing it unconsciously? Because if you're doing it unconsciously, the thought's running you. If you're doing it consciously, you're running the thought. And I think that one of the times, Jen, you were doing something and I asked you, do you want to run the thought or do you want to let the thoughts run you?
Yeah. And part of it is understanding the thought itself.
Yep.
Right? So we pull out the sentence, we throw it in our hand, we take the helicopter view, and we start to look at it. Imagine you're in a meeting at work, and all of a sudden you start having a reaction. You get frustrated, you get annoyed, you get bored, you get checked out. Doesn't matter what it is, right? And then wouldn't it be interesting to, in that moment, observe what it is that you're thinking? So what is creating you to check out? What thought do you have that is creating boredom or frustration? So if you can start to be an observer of your thought, imagine taking a moment internally, not out loud, to observe your thoughts while in a tense, heated meeting. Imagine being able to observe your thought when you're traveling for work and your schedule's delayed. Imagine being an observer of your thought when you're playing a fun family game after you've had a long day. It allows you to start not labeling like I shouldn't be thinking that, I should, this is a good thought, this is a bad thought, not that, but more examining it. Why is this my reaction this time? What is it that I believe should be happening? If I thought the exact opposite, what might change? What parts of this thought do I want to hold on to? I've learned more about myself and who I am in this world when I can stop to question my thought in the moment. Why is this upsetting me? Well, is this even a big deal? I'm curious on why that's my default reaction.
You know what though, Jen? One thing you're insanely good at is a lot of people are able to do thought work and they do thought downloads. So, and you're great at that.
Yeah.
Right? So something pops up for you and you just jot down 1,000 things that you're thinking about whatever that is. And that's really helpful to really examine what it is that's going on in your head with that. Because then you can see all the things that are actually on paper that are going on in your head.
Yeah, it's one of the reasons I do that is, and I'm able to do that, is because when I'm going to just use upset. When I'm upset in the moment and irritated about an external situation that is truly neutral, but I've had a reaction, or I get triggered, or I just have a response. I'm so curious more about my thought that it allows me to reflect inward with curiosity versus to keep being all amped up about that situation. It actually creates an interruption so that I'm able to sit there and say, what's really important here? Why is that my default? What do I want to have happen? It gives me pause that gives me complete control of what I want to think going forward. And I got to tell you, sometimes I still want to be irritated, annoyed, and focused on that external thing. So it's not about flipping it, but it's about understanding who I am in relationship to the way I see the world. So I get to decide if I want to start thinking something different.
Yeah, that's important though, because you do want to get the messages from the emotions and from the thoughts and the things that are going on, and not just immediately flipping the switch to, okay, great, I feel fabulous right now. I one of the things that you said made me, I don't even remember what it was that you just said, but it made me think that most people like kind of understand, since we've been drilling it into their heads for so long, that their thoughts create their feelings and all that, and their actions, and they get the results. But now it's taken this to that next level of being the observer of your thinking and knowing that the thoughts are a choice. And that's where the power lies, in knowing that the thoughts are a choice, because a lot of times people think that what they're thinking there aren't any options, that's just the way it is, and that's not true.
Yeah, a great way to practice that is, as you're observing your thought, you have your sentence in your hand, come up with 3 different thoughts that you could have about the same situation. That shows you the power of choice, even if you decide to stay committed to your original thought. Very fun, Karen.
Always.
Now, on that note, let's go be unstoppable.
Meditate, Jen.
Thanks for listening to the Kickstart Your Edge Play to Win Leadership Podcast.
Craving more? Of course you are.
Check out our website at kickstartyouredge.com,
where we fire you up, fan the flames of your competitive edge culture, and ignite your tenacious pursuit of an all-out play-to-win mindset.